Hello, my love. Welcome to the show. Today, I want to dive right in and talk about what to do when you feel triggered by the thought of money or anything involving money. When you feel triggered, that is your nervous system not feeling safe. And the reason why your nervous system does not feel safe is because you have a subconscious limiting belief that is keeping you from feeling safe. These beliefs happened at such a young age, you're probably not even aware of what that limiting belief is. And it can be anything. This can be from one time you heard your mother say, money doesn't grow on trees, or maybe you heard your dad fighting with your mom because they couldn't pay a bill, or maybe you moved around a lot as a child and you never really felt safe because you were constantly on the go and you attributed that to maybe your parents not having money and constantly having to move, maybe for opportunities for work or affordable housing. Whatever the story is that you subconsciously stored, it is now ingrained in the choices that you're making and the behaviors and the way that you react. So when something comes up that you are not prepared for, you may have a tendency to respond to that. And what I like to think of is you have a fear that is triggered and then you react. So, just to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like, our body is running 95% of the show. It is unconsciously just going with the flow every day. We are brushing our teeth without thinking about it, going through our morning routines, driving to work without navigation. We are just like on autopilot. Only 5%, which is our mind, is conscious. We're only actively aware of that 5%. So when a bill comes unexpectedly, or when you get an email about something that has to be paid, or and it triggers something because maybe you needed that money for something else, it creates this entire chain reaction. Because what happens is first your brain goes to a chemical response, which is the emotion that it feels. And that emotion is an emotion you've experienced before. And so anytime something has happened with money that was triggering or alarming, it goes to that emotion and it just replays that activity. So whatever that pattern is, that's what it reacts with. So if your pattern has always been to go into fear because of anything involving money, then you have a dysregulated nervous system that just needs a little love. And there's a few things that I want to walk you through today that we are going to do together. So the first thing is, in order for you not to be triggered whenever the conversation of money comes up, or whenever you think about how much money you have, or maybe how much money you need, or how much is owed, the first thing I want you to do is take a pause. I love the pause because it is a chance to stop and consciously be aware of your breath and try to slow down that heart rate, that blood pressure, just really get your nervous system to feel safe. So if you just do a few deep breaths in and exhale slowly out, you can start to calm yourself down. When you do this, you're able to think from your conscious mind. You're able to come up with solutions. And that's essentially what we want to do. We want to make the nervous system feel safe so that we can then come up with a solution instead of overreacting. So once you feel safe in your body, I want you to place your hand on your heart. And I want you to say, I am safe in this moment. I am safe in this moment. Right now, you are safe. If you owe money, if you don't have money, if you need to move, if you want to make more money, whatever your reality is, everything is possible for you. But first, we need to feel safe so that we can get that heart rate to slow down, so that we can get that body temperature regulated, get into that parasympathetic state. Once you're there, you can relax with it. Just get comfortable. Then I want you to think about, okay, what can I do today to take one small step toward changing this reality? So let's say that you got a bill in the mail And let's say hypothetically it is $1,000 and you only have $100 to put toward that bill. The first step is you could contact that company and see if you can get a payment plan so that you can make payments to pay that down. And then maybe if they agree to that, then the second step would be to start putting money aside to pay more than what that agreed amount is. So you're actually paying it off sooner. Taking small aligned steps toward that goal not only helps you stay in that parasympathetic state, but it helps your nervous system see that this is actually nothing to be afraid of. You don't need to be triggered or alarmed just because we have bills that are due. We need to stay in gratitude and be grateful that we have opportunities to make money to have the things that we bought that we have to pay off now. This is a blessing that we have been given. I love feeling gratitude. Not only is it a high vibe emotion, but when you are operating at gratitude, you cannot have fear because the two cannot coexist. So if you are staying in gratitude and you are saying, thank you for my electricity, thank you for my cell phone, thank you for the food in my refrigerator, thank you for getting my kids to school with the gas in my car, thank you for the job that I have. The more you stay in that vibration, the more things start to work in your favor. I used to be somebody who overreacted. The second I got any bad news, so when I say bad news, I mean triggering news. It could just be everyday news that alarmed me, and I was offset by that. And all of a sudden, I would get this flash of like shaking inside, like this anxiety feeling, that like anxious energy, not shaking, but more anxious energy. And that feeling like heart palpitations and how am I going to fix this and what am I going to do? And all of a sudden, it was just like the worst case scenario just went from A to Z so quickly. It was like 0 to 100 in like less than a second. And it took me a while to really get internally deep with myself, to put on paper what was happening with me. Like, why was I being triggered by this? And I had subconscious fears of my own from my own childhood because I had a young mom. My mother had me at 16 and she worked really hard and sometimes two jobs, and she was a single parent. So this woman was doing everything and more to take care of my brothers and I. And while I never went without, we had miracles every single year. She was fantastic. I saw how hard she worked. So there was a little programming in me that had this residual effect that just lingered for decades. And as I got older, I just felt like I had to keep working hard and nothing was ever going to be easy and bills were just going to accumulate and I was never going to get out of debt because college loans and all of these things. And you know the story. We all have this story. And I healed my nervous system. I did exactly what I'm sharing with you in this video. I took it one step at a time. I regulated with the pause. I allowed my body to feel calm. I asked myself, what could I do right now in this moment to shift this energy, to change my reality? And I made one small step toward that every day. And not everything worked out. Not every step I took was the right step. But what didn't work, I just went internally and I asked my body, why is this happening? Like, what is the lesson here? How is this benefiting me? Because if something isn't working, it's the universe trying to redirect you to the path that is meant to work out. So when you are clear and you can get into that solution based mindset and you're able to actually produce results, then you can start seeing everything is happening for you. You can align with that gratitude. You can really stop looking at these things as triggers. And really, when you clear that fear, that changes everything. Because when something happens, when you have a deadline and all of a sudden you get overwhelmed or you're sitting in traffic and you think you're going to be late or you have a bill and you don't know where you're going to come up with the money. When all of these things happen, you're able to regulate in that moment and realize you get one opportunity at life. And this is it. It's this beautiful experience. And you are not inconveniencing other people by things happening. Things happen. This is life. And it is okay. That's why when we operate from gratitude and love, these high vibe emotions, we are able to have not only compassion for ourselves, but other people. And when you do have to get, let's say, into a payment plan and you're on the call with that representative who's probably had 50 of these calls in that day, she or he will come to you from a loving place and have compassion for you because you are speaking to them from a loving place. You have the energy that's matched with the energy that they want to receive. So they're going to give that back to you. Like attracts like. So when you vibrate with that energy, when you stay in that high frequency, when you stop looking at things as triggering you, and you realize this is the universe showing you something, it's literally mirroring something internally that needs to be healed so that you can live in alignment, so that you can live in peace, you start to flow through life with ease. I know this sounds crazy because if you haven't actually witnessed this, it's really hard to believe it. I read so many books trying to understand this before I actually started understanding nervous system work and how manifestation works and how the emotions are frequency and how everything is energy and how if we want to attract things to us, we have to vibrate at the same energy as the quantum, so the 5D. It took me a really long time to understand all of this because I'm somebody who likes facts and evidence. I need to see proof. But the more I understood the spirituality and science and the proof behind this and how our bodies are energy. We're literally all energy, every single thing around us, and how we can be magnetic or we can be repulsive. It shifted everything for me. I started speaking to myself with love in times of pain. I started taking those pauses and saying, what a gift it is that this is happening, and reflecting on what wasn't working out and looking at how I could find a solution to fix it. I started elevating my frequency and staying in high vibe energy, being grateful for everything, knowing that the universe always has my back, operating from a place of love so that I could attract that back to me. So that when I really was at my lowest, somebody who also maybe was at their lowest, but I didn't know it, felt my love and my compassion, and they gave that energy back to me. That exchange alone, that transaction is already high vibe energy. That is already something that makes you magnetic. A smile goes a long way. So, back to money triggering you. I want you to take that pause and really allow your body to be calm. It does take a while to learn how to regulate that nervous system. It takes a while to get calm, to heal that internal belief that you've been suppressing. But once you can do that with breath work or meditations, affirmations, positive thoughts, taking a walk, when you can regulate, I want you to sit down, get out a piece of paper, and I want you to write down, how can I make a change for the better today? What is one thing I can do today to change this reality? And if it's really late at night and you can't do anything today, what can I do tomorrow first thing? What is one aligned action I can take to vibrate at this highest frequency and to shift my reality? And when I do that, how can I operate in gratitude? How can I be thankful that this is happening to me? What is the lesson here? What is the value? What is this energy I want to emit that I want to receive back to me? And what is the outcome I want? How do I want this to end? And literally take those same actions every day. Take accountability, stay in high vibe energy, have belief that the universe has your back. If you want help with this, I have a free limited series that is all about limiting beliefs, the most common limiting beliefs that we suppress internally that keep us stuck, that keep us playing small, that keep us in fear and trigger us because things like bills in the mail or traffic or running late triggers us. Those things should never trigger you because you can make a call and let someone know you're going to be a few minutes late. They're going to be okay with that. Your life is more important than rushing. And if you don't have the money to pay something, you can find a solution. There is always an answer. There's always help. There's always things you can sell. You can ask for more work. You can try to find ways to make supplemental income or maybe get an advancement or a loan. There are always solutions when you operate from compassion and love and you find a way to make things work. So, again, if you're interested in joining my free audio series, I've linked it down below so that you can get in the program and identify what belief has been subconsciously stored internally within you that might be keeping you from reaching the level of peace and the abundance and the beautiful life that you truly desire. Thank you so, so very much for tuning into this episode. I love you so much. And I just want you to know that everything always works out and the universe has your back. I'll see you on the next one.